through uh, some mindfulness, then we have
Oh,
theory that covers the topic, and then at the end we have time for questions and discussion if any. So usually that's what the flow is like.
okay, great. Thank you. I hope
Yeah.
I can catch up. Um, I
No,
had
it's
like,
every practice is unique. So you don't have to necessarily have attended everything to practice today, because wherever
okay,
you
great.
are, you can just pick up.
Thank you.
Okay, so today is a great topic, I'd say, and it's about how to say what we really mean, because we could confuse sometimes honesty and kindness as opposites, and we may believe that we must choose between either being honest and hurting people or being kind and staying silent. So today's discussion and the practices we do, they help us dismantle, that idea of this choice that we need to make, and we can hopefully start to believe and act that we can be kind and we can be honest together. So as we do, beginning with just more awareness of ourselves. And for that, if possible, sitting straight, spine tall, but also with a softness in the body, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the face, jaw, eyebrows. And closing your eyes if that feels okay to you today. You can only lower your gaze, whatever feels more accessible. And then checking in with yourself. How do I feel today? How's my body? Are there any places in my body that feel tense or stressed? Or is there any discomfort I feel? Is my body different? Is it trying to tell me anything? And then checking in with your breath. How does my breath feel today? Where do I feel it in my body? Do I feel it more in my chest, in my belly? What's the quality of my breath? Is it long or short? Is it deep or shallow? Without labeling it as good or bad, or without any judgment of how the body is, the breath is, how we are. Simply trying to build more awareness of what is and not going into what it should be. And see if you can connect with the sound of your breath. The sound of your heartbeat. And as you begin to be more aware of the breath, the body, acknowledging to yourself, saying that maybe in your mind, breathing in, I bring myself with my complete awareness. Breathing out, I'm present here and now. Breathing in, I'm here with myself, breathing out. I'm aware of myself. And just a few breaths together before we get into the practice. Deep, aware breaths, slow, steady, without forcing the breath, the body. And as you do so, I'd like you to think about if there's been a situation, there's been a conversation in the recent past or some time back where you were not able to say what you really wanted to say. Maybe it was asking for help or agreeing when you actually disagreed, staying silent to avoid conflict, avoiding a difficult topic, saying it's fine when it wasn't fine. Anything where you you suppressed what you really wanted to say because of some fear, some hesitation, guilt, doubt, fear of conflict. And just becoming aware, bringing that to mind and setting an intention to understand deeply why we avoid. Maybe also bringing to mind that, a conversation that you've been trying to avoid and why. So, setting an intention to understand that. You could even think about what emotions come up when you think of talking about what you want to say. Anxiety, guilt, fear, discomfort, or, feeling you could be exposed, feeling like you don't want to be that vulnerable. Connecting with that emotion. What do you feel? What emotion comes up when you think about having that conversation? And if you can, maybe even notice where that feeling lives in the body. Do you feel it stuck in your belly, in your stomach? Does it rise up? Do you feel it in your chest, in your throat? Does the throat feel like it's choking, constricted? Where do you feel it in your body? And with that, you could give yourself a stretch, come back to the practice. If your eyes were closed, opening your eyes. And we have someone saying discomfort. So there's a feeling of discomfort that comes up. Yeah, if you can, then maybe assessing or becoming aware. Do I feel it anywhere when I think about this and I feel this discomfort? Can I experience it in the body as well? What does it do? Now we'll start with understanding why we stay silent and why it can be so hard to have honest conversations. The most likely reasons are fear of hurting someone. There could be a fear of conflict, big fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. There can also be a fear sometimes of seeming weak, um, of feeling like, if I'm too vulnerable, then I will be judged. So that could be a fear. And it could feel safer to stay silent than say what we want to. So that communication, that conversation can make us feel unsafe, really uncomfortable. But the problem is that we don't at the same time can make this disappear. So the fact that we can now, even we think of it, connect to it, it means that it's not left us, we can suppress it and hold it down, but it stays inside it and it keeps affecting us. And we would see that also in our relationships. If there's a conversation that we are not having, it can lead to emotional disconnection. It can lead to us being passive aggressive. So, we see that a lot. I see that a lot, that sometimes when we make a mean joke about something, we can be passive aggressive because we can't say the real thing. It can lead to distance, it lead to resentment, assumptions, misunderstanding. Because as we're saying, avoided conversations, they don't disappear, and they usually become bigger conversations later. Now, if we try and look at it from, a neuroscience perspective, what is the brain doing? Now, when we anticipate conflict, and we've seen this previously as well, whenever the brain anticipates that this can lead to something that I need to fight, it starts responding as if there is danger. So, wherever we feel like we can face social rejection, um, that pain or that discomfort is the same that we feel as we feel in physical pain. The same brain systems are involved in social rejection as are involved in physical pain. And which is why this feeling is real. Criticism can hurt, rejection can hurt, disappointing people can hurt, because the brain is wired for belonging. We feel safe when we feel connected to others. We feel safe when we feel we are part of a group. We are wanted, we are accepted, we are liked. Um, so, no wonder difficult conversations can feel threatening to us, because they tell us that there is a chance we will not be accepted and we will not be liked and we won't belong any longer. So, what most people do instead, we can avoid. We can say, I'll deal with it later. We can hint and hope. Maybe they'll figure it out. We can even explode months of silence, followed by, like one big argument. We can withdraw. We can stop talking about it entirely. So, so maybe time to then also reflect which one is your default pattern. When you face a situation where talking about it is hard, um how does it feel like? What do you resort to? What do you do? Do you withdraw, avoid, hint, explode, become passive aggressive? And we can all be guilty of doing that, because as we see, it can really feel challenging, it can feel threatening. So so we also know that um we at some point will, preferably for ourselves and for our relationships, learn to deal um, with difficult conversations and have these difficult conversations, because until we do, we are just storing them for later, which affects the body, which affects our own emotions, because suppression is stored somewhere, even physically in the body. Or the same relationship that we are trying to protect, we actually end up harming, because we do end up feeling disconnected, or we do end up feeling unhappy, discontent. Now, how do we then start having honest communication? Um, is it even possible? And is there a method? Thankfully, there is. So we can look at it in 4 steps. And if you have a conversation that, you know, you wish to have, or you've maybe not been able to um, do mindfully with awareness in the past, you could bring that to your mind. And as we go through the steps, maybe see what it would feel like for you in that context. You can write it down for yourself or just, replay it in your mind. But if you had to use these 4 steps to be able to um, get to or talk about what you would like, see if it makes sense, and what would it sound like to you. So again, bringing to mind something that's active in your mind, a conversation you've not been able to have, or been, you find it really challenging, or fear comes up, discomfort comes up. And step one is to start with connection. So how do we do that? We Things we don't do are, we don't blame, we don't attack, we don't accuse. We state our intent as to why we want to have this conversation. So we could say, I care about you and I need to be honest with you. Or there's something that I feel, could be hurting our relationship and I want to just speak to you about it. So making your your intention clear, starting with this feeling of, we are together in this. It's not like I'm against you. It's not like, it's me versus you. I want to help our relationship. I want to help you. I want to help myself. And which is why I need to have this honest conversation with you. So then again, applying it in your context, if you were to speak about what you want to do, how would you how would you create that connection as step one? What would you say? What would be your intent? And just becoming aware of that. Then step two is talking about your experience. So this means that when this happened, I felt this. Instead of saying, you are this, you know. So, for instance, rather than saying you are inconsiderate, saying, when this incident happened, I felt hurt. Now, something else to also avoid is saying, you always do this. You are this person. You always behave like this. You never do this for me. So, avoiding absolute statements that label the other person as negative, or that takes away any positivity from them. When we use words like always, never, you are, you cannot, you don't, it sort of gives a signal that we are not at all looking at anything good they might have done for us, or could stand for. So staying away from absolute negatives, absolute statements, and focusing on what happened and how you felt about it. What was your experience? Basis what you want to anchor that experience in. So again, thinking about the conversation you want to have and seeing if you can locate what is it that you felt when something occurred. And if you can find a way to structure that, to frame that. You never pick up your towel. Then step three, which could sometimes, like this is what can really feel difficult because it makes us really vulnerable when we say that, which is to express our need. So in step three, what you do is you say, what I actually need is, I need more care from you. I need more attention from you. I need you to, make me feel seen and respected when we are around friends. I need to feel like you care for me, or you care for what I want, and when you pick up the towel, that will tell me. So I need this from you. We can we can stop at feelings. I need to feel safe. This is my need. And because um, I want to be honest, I want to share how, if this is not done, I end up feeling. I also want to tell you that this exactly is something that you can do for me. And seeing if you can frame that or connect with that. We could we could expect our partners, our children, our parents, our friends to guess, and we can feel disappointed if they are not able to guess what we need. We could expect them to read our minds, but is there a possibility to get clarity in our communication, which is step three? This is what I need. And then step four is where you invite them to share their perspective. So you say, I want to understand your perspective too on this. And this is when it becomes a conversation, and it signals to the other person as well that how they feel is also important to you. It's not just about your experience. And that strengthens connection. I want to understand how you feel about that too. So we start um, with creating connection and not blaming or attacking. Or we start with, assuring the other person that I'm doing this for us. I care about us. Then step two was pointing out to how something makes you feel. And it's not about blaming again the other person, talking about their flaws, using absolute statements or terms to describe their behavior or them. Third step becomes what you need from them. And yeah, this is perhaps difficult, but checking in can we state our need and not expect it to be guessed, not expect our minds to be read. And then step four is inviting them into the space and asking them to share how they feel, what they think. Now, again, one more important sort of distinction to make is whether you want to be right in this discussion or you want to be understood. So in this conflict, if it's arisen, or in this discussion, what is more important to you? Is it to win or is it to resolve? Because these two things can lead to different kinds of attitudes from us or different routes from us. Now, uh, we can say that in arguments, we just want to be I was right. I want to prove I was right. You were wrong. And that's very different intent from saying, okay, this happened. How can we make sure that next time if we come up on this, then it's not me versus you, it's us. And how can we make sure it doesn't happen again? Or if it happens again, we deal with it with more awareness and more compassion, love, care for each other. So um so yeah, always keeping this sort of north star as your focus. What do I want more? Is it to win, or is it to be understood? Is it to resolve and have more harmony? And how do we then navigate a conversation if our intent is harmony? We listen more, we are curious about the other person's experience as well. Mm, and knowing that understanding can happen without agreeing. Understanding does not mean that the other person agrees with you or you agree with the other person. It means that you can see how they feel. You can listen to them without, waiting for your turn to speak. Um, the other difference is how you frame sentences. So if you compare these two sentences, you never listen versus I don't feel heard when that happens. You don't care, or I feel disconnected. Now, one sentence can make the other person feel very defensive because they feel like, they have to be on guard and they want to protect themselves. But the other sentence, it invites dialogue from them. So, so thinking about, are you taking ownership of how you feel, or you want to put that on the other person to deal with? Now, little things also matter. Are we in a time and space where we do have the bandwidth to be patient and kind? Have we slept well? Have we eaten well? If you look at kids, they are cranky when they are hungry, if they're not slept well, if they are hurt. As adults too, if we are hungry, we have not slept well, we don't feel as good, we can be impatient. So extending the grace that we extend to children also to adults, and knowing that it's important sometimes to choose a time and space where a conversation can be held more easily or with more grace than other times. Now, um beyond this, I think that um, in a conversation, sometimes we might need to have the same conversation a few times to really come to a place of understanding. If talking seems difficult, some people find it easier to first write, structure their thoughts, get everything out, and then speak. Some people can find it easier to communicate, if um, through, say, emails, letters. But the point remains that we own our experience. We refrain from using labels or strong, harsh words. And we stay open and curious to the other person as well. And we don't go with the intent to win, we go with the intent to understand and be understood. So now I'd just like to invite all of us to um, practice maybe developing some courage around talking what we want to say. And for that, you could again just sit up straight. If it feels okay, you can close your eyes and taking a few deep breaths. See if you feel any different. The mind may be feeling more rested, more present, body feeling lighter. And then also bringing attention to the throat area, sending your breath there. And as you breathe out, releasing any hesitation, any lack of confidence, breathing in new energy, breathing out any stress, any tension, breathing in courage, breathing out any fear, anxiety, breathing in peace, breathing out any discontent. And then repeating silently to yourself, I speak my truth freely and authentically. I honor my inner wisdom and speak from my heart. I release the fear of being misunderstood or judged. I'm confident to ask for what I want. I communicate my needs clearly and respectfully. I say no when I need to. I express my thoughts and feelings with ease. My voice is powerful. It expresses my truth. I listen deeply and respond thoughtfully. My voice matters and I allow it to be heard. I communicate with clarity and confidence. And even though I am still learning to express myself honestly, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I'm still finding my voice, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I'm still learning complete authenticity, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And with that, giving yourself a big hug, maybe stretching, moving yourself, feel nice in your body, in your mind, in your heart, and opening your eyes when you feel ready. So, thank you for being here, for practicing, uh, being together here in this in this hour that we spend every day, um, learning about skills that can empower us, that can take us to, our best selves, emotionally, mentally, physically. So we feel enabled to live our best lives. And if you have now any questions you want to ask, or you want to share something about what we discussed today, we could do that now. Or else we'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, as I said, same time, every day, wherever you are in the world, you could join us. And if there's anything you'd like us to in particular speak about or address, you can share that with us. You can put that in chat or send a message on any of our of channels. So hoping to see you back, and thank you once again for being here, for practicing together. Bye.
So this is
Yeah.
Vardini. I just was wondering, so today's topic was problem solving, right?
No, today's topic was about um, having more honest conversations.
Honest conversations. Okay.
Yeah.
In order to get the result of um, probably dissipating a conversation or some difficult conversations,
Yeah, because I think
right?
two
The best
objectives,
top.
maybe having more harmony in a relationship, and
Right.
also not feeling like we are suppressing our needs or suppressing ourselves to keep peace in a relationship.
That's like really, really hard to do
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah, it
most of the
is.
time,
It
and
is.
especially when you're like when you were talking about being judged as women, we still are held to different standards, and that's where the block could come in.
Yeah.
Um, unless we raise boys differently,
Mm.
things are not going to change. It's going to take so much more to change, right?
Yeah.
How so it's like so much courage that you have to just say it and in a non-judgmental, compassionate, like you said, not in an accusative manner, and see and just listen with open-mindedness and is the key. So that's scary sometimes. And we
It's
do
hard.
it,
And
and
I,
then you
sorry.
could lose sometimes something, right? You should be able
Mm.
to, you should be okay with you might lose something in life, right? Or in your at work or whoever you're conversing with. There's a loss and gain, and maybe I just had a little thought, maybe having the conversation in a public place could help, like not in your own space where you take each other, where we take each other for granted sometimes, and that happens. You grow as if we are looking at marriage or a long-term relationship, let's say. um, because you brought the topic up of not picking up the towel, things like that. That's in a long-term relationship manner, like the situation also matters, right? So I was just thinking, maybe just a suggestion. If I am trying to coach someone, maybe I might think, say, have it in a public space. Like, let's go out to have this, and both of us should be in the frame of mind. And another thing you mentioned also was important, the intention and your attitude at the time you're having the conversation. It's like giving fearless feedback. Can we have a fearless feedback chat? Maybe we could start that way. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
The
if you
public.
talk about long-term relationships, sometimes, yeah, being in a neutral space can take us out of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
same comfort zone, or places signify things. So,
Oh
um,
yeah. Oh
so,
yeah.
so a bedroom or a kitchen where where we become different, where our personalities are different,
You wear
can
different hats.
yeah. So when it's neutral, it's not yours or mine, or it
Yeah,
symbolizes something else, can also make us think, differently.
absolutely. Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
true. And another thing you're saying, that fearless feedback. Couples, if you speak about long-term relationships or couples can even schedule things where they can talk about how they feel, what they need, rather than waiting for it to become
Oh,
something
absolutely.
big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
before not picking the towel, which is also symbolic for something else, like when we fight about, oh, your socks are always lying on the floor, it could mean something more to me than just the socks lying on the floor. So
Oh, yeah.
before I make that into a big fight, if I can, if I know that, yeah, the end of the month we go out for a meal, and there we can be courageous with each other, but at the same time also compassionate towards each other. So not
Oh, yeah.
losing
Yeah.
kindness, not mistaking, as we started by saying, that not mistaking that it's either or. We can have
Exactly.
both
And-
honesty and kindness
right.
together.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Thank you. So tomorrow we're doing, what's the topic for tomorrow?
Tomorrow we'll have a new teacher.
Okay.
So yeah, I think the topic will be shared tomorrow.
Oh,
Um,
we don't know. Okay.
Yeah. And but next week we are starting with we'll be continuing actually with this module, which is about how can we build real relationships and how can we communicate with
Okay.
more care and with more honesty. So we'll continue on this theme. And most likely tomorrow also we'll be continuing with this theme itself.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time and
Yeah.
good to meet you.
Thank you.
I'll probably log in again tomorrow. It
Sure.
was good.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for being
Is there
here.
any
And
homework or anything? No homework.
no, maybe just, the homework is just to, again, reflecting on conversations
And try to
don't
convert.
have, we
Yeah.
don't have, and thinking which is the fear that stops us, and how
Oh, yeah.
can we change that fear into honesty with compassion. You know, uh, it can be really hard to be vulnerable. It can be really
Mm,
hard to say,
yeah.
I need this from you. So just even if we are not able to, get to a point to say it, can we identify with ourselves and first start by being honest with ourselves? Because it's so easy to blame the other
Absolutely. Yeah.
person,
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
put it all on them and say, because they are like this, I feel like this, I'm miserable, I don't get what I need, or I am the one who's always having to compromise. So can we take ownership of what we need and say it openly to ourselves? I need more
Right.
attention. I don't feel seen, so I need more attention from you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, and see you again. Bye.